Before we get into this video is sponsored by Pro Guides. If you are dedicated to improving as a player, I highly recommend you check them out. Link in the description.
The fun begins. I've got a good feeling about this. I always shoot first.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mickey C, aka TheLoLHounds, and today we are going to be looking at a challenger one-trick Miss Fortune player from the NA server. His name is MeStab, and he's currently rank 93. He has got over a 60% win rate so far this season on MF with close to 200 games. He mainly plays Miss Fortune as an AD carry, but he does sometimes play her as a support. So this video will focus on his runes, masteries, item build, and skill order, and then you guys can compare your builds to his or just copy his if you want to. So without further ado, let's do this. So first of all, summoner spells. He obviously takes flash and heal as an AD carry. As for his runes and masteries, he takes an 18-12-0 page with his keystone mastery being Death Fire Touch. I would also like to point out he takes sorcery over fury for the extra ability damage rather than the attack speed, meaning a lot of his damage is going to come from his abilities rather than just auto attacks. As for his runes, he takes 9 AD reds, 9 armor yellows, 9 magic resist blues, and 3 AD quints. This is a very simple page that most people hopefully should have access to. Now we'll move on to his item build. So Miss Fortune is one of those AD carries who benefit a lot more from just straight attack damage rather than a mixture between AD and attack speed. Her ultimate and Q scales incredibly well with AD, so mid to late game your ultimate will do a lot of damage, especially with a lethality build, unlike a crit build, which is just not as efficient on Miss Fortune. Anyway, his starting items would be a Doran's Blade and a health pot with a yellow trinket. As for his first back, he would always aim to get a serrated dirk. If he does not have enough gold for this item, he will just get some long swords instead. His core build would be rushing Ghostblade, then into Edge of Night, followed by a black Cleaver. It would usually be in exactly that order. However, I did notice that every now and then against heavy AP team comps, he would rush an Edge of Night rather than getting that Ghostblade first. He very rarely buys Duskblade, which is a very common item on Miss Fortune at the moment. Duskblade is also a very weak item at the moment in general. However, I do believe it got a bit of a buff in patch 7.2, which does go live today, so maybe he will start buying it a lot more often. We will have to wait and see. Also in patch 7.2, Lethality is getting a bit of a buff, so I wouldn't be surprised if Miss Fortune's win rate and play rate does increase in the next patch, so maybe jump on the MF bandwagon early to get that free LP. As for a common final build, it would be something like Ghostblade, Edge of Night, Black Cleaver, Lord Dominic's Regard, Swifty Boots, and Death's Dance. I will note that he never rushes boots early. In fact, in some games he doesn't even get boots. I guess he feels the mobility you get from items such as Ghostblade and Edge of Night, along with Miss Fortune's W passive, is enough in most cases to get around the map. Other items he would consider would be Mortal Reminder against healing champs, Mercurial Scimitar for the QSS, Maw of Malmortius against heavy burst AP champs, and Duskblade for even more lethality. Finally, his skill order would be start W, then 2 points in Q, and then level 4 get E, max Q first, W second, E third, and his ultimate whenever he can. So that is his Miss Fortune AD carry build. Now I did mention before that he does sometimes play MF as a support as well, so I'll quickly go over the build for his MF support in case you're interested. So some of the spells he takes exhaust instead of heal. Runes will be exactly the same, however Masteries he takes this page instead, 0, 18, 12, with his keystone mastery being Thunderlord's Decree. You guys can just pause the video and copy it if you want to. As for his build, he would start Spell Thief's Edge with 3 pots and then build into Eye of the Watchers, get Boots of Lucidity for the CDR. His first major item would always be Black Cleaver, and then this would be followed by items such as Mortal Reminder, Dustblade, and then maybe a Death's Dance, if he even gets enough gold for that as a support. Skill order, he would start E, then Q, get another point in E, then W, max E first, W second, Q third, and then his ult whenever he can. And that sums up the support build very quickly. As for your playstyle with Miss Fortune as an AD carry, the main thing to try and do in lane is to use your Q on minions that would bounce onto the enemy. So for example here, he uses his Q on the caster minion which bounces onto Caitlyn. This does a lot of damage, especially after your first back. Anyway, that does it for the video. That is the highest ranked Miss Fortune player on the NA server. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, drop that like button. And as always, have a nice day.